Okay guys, welcome back. It's been a while since I came to us from NASA's, but I figured it out finally. It's a blood. For some reason you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end, though, yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? I don't know why I said it like that. You can't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Oh, bad partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Isworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, will we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. Seems the time has come. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and just like him, I planned to take out the evidence. I was expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. Managed to escape. I knew what sayers wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's only there's only one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is that he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. When you say it, you mean? Do you even have to ask, partner? There's on an incident. 2 years have passed since the case has closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer that day. Or if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall was in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance, that's why. Wait, hold on. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which won't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card was left there by Officer Muscle. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguised yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open the locker yourself. But you could because the rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. This means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in evidence for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone else would come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Ellsworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry I had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If I had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my lock and stashed in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? Oh, he was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on the day... But the blood found at the crime scene certainly indicates the crime took place. Were you blind? The victim shown on the tape is me and I'm not there yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What, Mr. Ellsworth? Where is the evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Far away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? That's just no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple curtain salad. Not that salad cuts are ever phallus to listen. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Yes, we know why. Because if we look here, Marshall. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. Think I know why you care so much about the SO9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SO9 incident file here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall is related to this man. Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SO9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then chief deputy, deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. They were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally over. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. No, my brother better than anyone. No one could ever have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your sane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try and hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. We know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SO9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his solution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Gilman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him and he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. Exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance has got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means that a murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. But wait, I thought it wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident of the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of this Stimulation's murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Also, murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspects on the scan, the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Ah! I rest my case. Go with Phoenix. Seems this trial's reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I don't need to waste my time. That's proof in the latest murder at the police department. There's no doubt why I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tapers really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Anna guilty. Now then, the time is for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Hold it! Your Honor, wait. Emma, the defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you the school's guardian? Your Honor? In a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Ashworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out there's online incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that's immense, isn't it? The names of both Sky sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. Sonny's fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker, but no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'm sure I'd find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find anything? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student. I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regards to the incident in the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered on it. Is there a problem with this? Yes, because that's where the blue badger was. Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have 40. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate now. What could be wrong with the handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object. The handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is that you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is, James. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blow mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something they can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing from the floor plan? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mask of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So what happens when we put him in? This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. No, that's right. So long as the Blue Badger's dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker. What? So that means, just what exactly does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces are undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think through it scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? If they put it on, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that means this blood mark was left before the Blue Badger was born. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched boulders in my courtroom. May sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice. Hi! One time was captured on the tape taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cuts hand from a trivial from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... Stop dancing, please. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, enough incident took place in the evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Isworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence I can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? Well, it can only be this. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in doing so, the ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the call record. Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel into the evidence room. Let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miss Ellsworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop that, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test upload was there, however, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. It would have just been 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Ellsworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other car number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his car being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7 sevens. Mr. Ellsworth, please look into the ASAP. Find out his ID number is 77777. Oh, I skipped, but at least that person. Yeah, basically, no one knows who that car number is. There's no record of who it belongs to. Explain yourself, son. The ID number's 777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called exclusive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous, just type. I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against the executive is accepted. An official charge. You're all like, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I'd appreciate it if you keep your slander to yourself. Slander is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question, yes? No, not you, talking to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid, she's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her number, and it's not that. Don't play me for a fool, partner, that's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. This or non-incident. Answer me this. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. That child 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat question, Chief Prosecutor? I'd heard him find Mr. Ellsworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the police. The child. Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in charge to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized that we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just voicing. I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer? Just crimes required just misses. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to. In order for him to get the federal he deserves. But Nana, even if them forging evidence. Oh. So I'll see you guys then in the next video. Goodbye.